everybody, so you don't know, all these people here are with us. So like if they cheer and stuff, if you could kind of just play along with that, that'd be cool. So what's up? What we got? We got a bunch of singles in the house, or married people? Married people, say what's up. Woo! All right, single people, say what's up. All right, it's a little bit more enthusiastic. I think we all know why. You know, kind of covering up that whole insecurity, we don't have people around kind of thing. They're usually a lot more vocal about stuff like that. So what we're going through right now, that's basically like the formality of opening in comedy. I like to do that. It's my first time. I think you can kind of tell it's kind of like foreplay. We all know how that first time was. That was kind of crazy. It's pretty important. Like, you know, back in the day, it wasn't really, you know, like I consider like my foreplay like from age 14 to like 20. Really didn't know what was going on. There was a bunch of first, second, and third base. And then boom, everything after that was just the real deal, straight business. As we go on throughout time, like that business portion, we get more efficient. Like it starts out like you're in mad shape, you're like 20 years old, you can roll with it like 2-3 hours at a time, and then you just get way more efficient. You're like 27, I just turned 27, I'm like a 4-minute machine. I got my shit taken care of. Like, you need to work on that. I'm where I need to be right now. I think it's kind of like, it's not really my fault, it's just like biology over time, like it works out. You get, as older you get, the least attractive you are. In terms of procreation, you got to be able to just make moves. Like, I don't have time for that 2 or 3 hours anymore. I got to go down the street like 4 minutes, like 3 or 4 times a night. That's where it's at. You know, that's how the race continues. That's what we got to do. Speaking of which, I talk about like foreplay. Like, there's lots of rumors going around like 90s, like that wasn't the thing to do. You know, I got to get mine. I'm the dude. That's where it's at. It's not that way anymore. You know, I don't know what I'm talking about though. In 1999, I was 14 years old. It was like foreplay was like making out. That was it. Speaking of 14, so y'all get to know me a little bit. That's when I lost my virginity. It was kind of crazy. She was an older girl. I didn't really know what was going on. Like, you know, I'm kind of hanging out, working it, and then out of nowhere, boom, check the oil. Whoa, what is this? This is not like, I mean, I've seen like softcore on Showtime and shit. That doesn't happen. So like straight, like push-up, stand-up position. What just happened? And she's like, I thought most guys like that. I'm like, well, most guys? What the fuck are you doing? Like I get it, small town America. I'm from Oklahoma, but shit. Like, there's other things to do, really. But like, I mean, that kind of goes to the next thing. Like dudes these days, like I love you, man. It's that generation, like blatant, like straight guys, like portraying homosexuality. Like, if I was a gay guy, that'd be fucked up, because that's fucking up the game for those people. Like, you got a bunch of dudes, like, I mean, we've all been victim, you know, little bromance here and there, like your best bud. Like, what's up, bitch? How's it going? Like, oh, shut up, skank. Like, that's one thing. But like, you take it to the next level, you got dudes like caressing faces and like smushing and like fucking good game with a little caress. Like, god damn it, easy. Like, that's later on down the road when that trend passes, you can find out who was really gay back then. Just didn't want to admit it. But now this is why it's important. Like, white people will still anything. Like, any trendy, like, demographic that's going on, like, you look throughout history, like jive talking, like, all the fucking slang terms and everything, jack that shit, that was gone. As soon as that stuff came out, boom, jacked, it was over with. And then you get to the next generation, you get, like, breaking, and then, like, Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo. Once that shit came out, white people dancing everywhere, like Vanilla Ice, like, when did freaking out become dancing? That's fucking ridiculous. Like, that's not for real. That's not how it goes. Like, the biggest thing that gets me is pimping. Like, for a long time, white dudes had it worked down. It was, you know what? I really don't give a shit about how she feels or anything like that. I'm gonna, like, target and attack her securities. Boom, next thing you know, she's a housewife, popping out kids, making apple pie. That's where it's at. And then out of nowhere, hey baby, what's going on? You know, I've been watching you for a while. I just thought I'd maybe get to know you a little bit better, you know. Just find out what it is that you do that makes me feel like I'm not good enough for you. Y'all fucked up the game for every white dude out there. That is just retarded. And now you've got actually believing that. Like, now they actually believe that shit. And now you know, white dudes take it to the next level. They're like, all right, I'll play this game. Like, I'll pimp, per se. And now you got like people like Tucker Max. Just like, really couldn't maximize off of like Superfly scenario, not the Shaft. We go another way. Straight up berate women, like from the start, like, what's up, you're not as cool as your friend, but that's what I'm gonna do. Like, that's it. Just like completely like you're kind of good looking and I'm kind of drunk, so we might as well just make this happen. Like, that's a pickup line. Like, that works. Whatever, I mean, that's what they gotta do, I guess. But like cultural tendencies, anything like that, we'll take it. And that's where it's at right now. Skinny jeans, come on. Skinny jeans, like Italian boots from like J. Crew and shit, with like a button-up shirt that's not buttoned up at all. Like, that's fucking pointless. Speaking of which, I was out the other night. I was at a place in Okaloosa, and there was a dude out there, straight up flock of seagulls. Like, half of his head was shaved. The other half was like 10 inches long. He had skinny jeans and the boots on, and, all right, literally, like to Johnny Be Good. This shit does not work. And hollering at bitches at the same time. Like, where are you going with this? Like, I'm like, we have to leave right now because I'll just jack this guy out of nowhere. You look like an idiot. You were making me look bad just by association. It was ridiculous. But yeah, there's a whole different level that a white guy can never really take it. All right? Now, I grew up with a lot of friends, and you know, the target that's out there, they want that hot girl, that alpha female of the list. But to be able to get to that hot girl, because she appears to be so untouchable, they gotta go like tier 3. And they attack tier 3 and get to know her and whatever and blah, blah, blah. So they're hanging out with that clique just so they can get to know tier 2. And so now they're running 2 at the same time. That's, you know, guys can do that, especially when you don't have a lot going on in the rest of your life. Like, there's nothing else really to do. Like, I'm not really a professional. Like, from time to time, like, I part-time at UPS, so I don't really have a lot to keep my mind occupied. So 2 girls is one thing, but then they still got that star in their eye, that #1 prize. And so now they're running 3 girls trying to get this one, but you can't, once you get that one, you can't just drop 3 and 2, because 3 and 2 are gonna tell #1 about how all that shit was a lie and how crazy it was. So now you're running 3 girls, 24/7, completely devoted to that shit, and then what happens? All of them find out. They come to your work, you're losing your fucking job over shit like this. Like, that's why we are where we're at today. Like, fucking, it's point 1. Pick what you want and go for it. And, ridiculous. Like, this whole, like, I'm gonna step up and then try and play them all at the same time, that's not ever gonna work out. It never has. Tiger Woods. All the money in the world couldn't keep a 9-iron from breaking through his Escalade. That is just not gonna work out. But, like, speaking of like that white guy the other night with the flock of seagulls and everything, like, what am I really gonna do? I really can't say anything to that guy. Because never know, like 2 weeks, a year down the road, like, he remembers that I punked him. I go to sleep one night after going out to the club. I remember going to bed, everything's cool. Next day, I wake up with a fucking bear trap on my face looking at a TV screen with Jigsaw on it. Like, you can't mess around with like innocent looking white guys. It's just, you can't. Like, this dude is all over the place. I just want to tell him to shut up, but you never know. He might have somebody in his freezer under the fucking front porch. Like, you never know. Anything could be possible these days. You gotta watch out for people like that. Snake in the grass, they look real innocent, but that's not the case. Like, not at all. Snake in the grass. Right? So that's really all I had for tonight. I mean, I could go a couple more. I got like one story that I'd like to share with y'all in regards to like once I had matured and whatnot, got out there. I had a long distance relationship. Went to college, came back, we moved in together. College didn't really work out, lost a scholarship, so me and girlfriend moved in. She was not tier 1 per se. She was probably tier 2.5, a little bit of daddy issues. Perfect for me at the time, because I wasn't really putting a lot of effort out into anything. So we're fooling around one day before work, like 2 years into the relationship. I'm working at a gas station as a favor from my dad. Like, He was with some fuel transportation, like guy was in trouble, needed to own a convenience store, so I go and manage the place. I'm like 2 hours away from home, maybe been at work for like 3 hours. So maybe 4 hours from me going home, I get a phone call. And I got 6 hours left to work, and girlfriend's like, I need you to come home right now. And I'm like, what's the problem? Like, I've still got to do my shift, like I got rent to pay. And she's like, no, you have to come home, it's an emergency. Bitch, call 911. Like, if it's an emergency, why are you calling? I'm 2 hours away. There's nothing I can do for you right now. You're bleeding in the living room, like, do something about it. She's like, no, it's not that kind of emergency. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on right now, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep working, and I'll maybe call you back in like 15 minutes. If you wanna tell me what's up, then we can talk about it. Hang up the phone. Now I'm curious as shit. So like 4 minutes later, what's the problem? You know how we were fooling around before you left for work and we didn't really get to do anything about it and I was just left? I'm like, yeah, I know, it's kind of like that. You know, I cut you off, it's cool, I got work to do. Somebody got a little frustrated, if you will. A couple days before, she had gotten mad at me. She threw a brush handle and I fucking matrix that shit, and then it breaks on the wall. Brush handle comes off. So I left for work. Alibi, 1, I'm at work. And I get home and she's like, so that brush handle. I'm like, where's it at? Like, because I'm actually curious. Like, I want to see this. Like, I've heard stories, but this is like real life. And so it was number 2. And she was, you know, fooling around, whatever, and then something happened. She coughed, flinched up or something. Bam, it's gone. Never to be seen again. And so you can imagine, like, if she's fooling around, like, she's not going to put the jagged edge up there first, right? No. So that's not coming out, like, willingly at all. This is where it gets ridiculous. So I'm like, all right, I'll take you to the emergency room because I'm not paying for no ambulance for this bullshit. So we get to the emergency room, walk in, dude behind the counter is like mopping. I'm like, the nurse isn't even there. This is not working out for me at all. And I'm just selfish as shit right now. Like, she's getting what she deserves, but I don't need to be going through this. So she's like mopping behind the counter. The dude's like mopping behind the counter. He's like, I don't know, 60, 70 years old. And I'm like, they've got that, like a bank teller. They got the microphone metal piece right there, and then they've got like the payment section down at the bottom for your insurance information. So I'm like, I need to see the nurse technician. Like, and he's like, no, she's on break. She's on a smoke break. You can tell me. And I'm like, no, motherfucker, this is the emergency room. I need to see a nurse. And he was like, seriously, she's on a smoke break. It could be 15 to 20 minutes. You tell me, or you guys fucking go somewhere else. And I look at her like, you gonna say some shit right now, or is this just me? And she's, I'm like, okay, you take a fucking walk. She's like, I'm standing still, like hours into this ordeal. So I'm like, all right, shit. She has a brush handle in her anus. Yeah, go get the motherfucking nurse. God damn it. And so the nurse comes out of the double doors like 9 seconds later, 15 minutes my ass. She's like, and looks at me like, I need to talk to you. Come back here in this room. And I'm like, God damn it, if I run now. Like, she could say anything she wants back there. Like, bitch, I was at work. I swear to God, I was at work. This didn't happen like that. Long story short, she had to stay overnight. A fucking specialist had to come in the next day. Now imagine that person's job. They're a specialist at removing shit from people's butts. God, he's loving life because he's a real comedian right there. All he's got to do is talk about shit that he's seen every day. But nurse in the ER was at girlfriend's church and told her mom the next day at church. And so she came home from the emergency room, bags are packed in the living room. I'm like, you gotta go. Then she tells all of her friends, like, Trent's a dick. Like, he's just an asshole. And I'm like, all right, we're gonna play dirty like that. this is what really happened. And then fucking like hyenas, just blah, all across the town. She was never the same again. It's cool. It's whatever, that's all I got. You guys take it easy. I appreciate you giving me the time.